A January thaw in cross-channel travel restrictions. France lifting its ban on non-essential travel from Britain and the obligation to quarantine on arrival. Last month's rules wreaked havoc for families and ski vacation bookings from Britain. Well, for more, we turn to Europe editor Catherine Nicholson. Give us the good news.
Europe editor, but today unofficial UK France travel editor, I have to say. Yeah, really good news for a lot of people, including, I'm sure, a lot of our viewers. As of Friday morning, tomorrow morning, if you're vaccinated and you want to travel from the UK into France, you're free to do so. The only requirement is that you have a negative COVID test done within 24 hours before you get on your plane, ferry, train. And that can be a PCR test or a lateral flow antigen test, which is obviously a lot quicker to get hold of. This undoes a lot of those restrictions that were put in place on the 18th of December, a week before Christmas. It threw travel hopes and Christmas plans up in the air for so many people. I have to say, though, people who aren't vaccinated, it's still harder to make that journey. They still need a compelling reason. There's a list of these on the French government website. There are things like you're summoned to court in France, or you're visiting a relative who's dying in France and you need some paperwork to certify this. This is all, of course, in line with French President Emmanuel Macron's line recently that he wants to pee off the unvaccinated. So in line with that, it's really, really big news for travellers, of course, but also, for example, French ski resorts, they rely on British travellers for about 15% of their custom. They'll be very happy to see them back. And Eurostar, going between London and Paris, says it's going to be upping its number of services, which is great news for them.
Well, Catherine, you're still the Europe editor because, yes, we're talking health reasons, but I mean, with Omicron running rampant on both sides of the channel, we all know this was a lot about politics, wasn't it?
I think this time we can definitely say there was a lot of politics in this, like you say. The level of new infections in France has been, above 200,000, above 300,000 for days now. In fact, higher than it's been in the UK as the wave there dissipated. And it's no secret that Franco-British relations are particularly a low ebb at this point. I'm sure our viewers remember the dispute over fishing licences. Well, that hasn't gone away. There's still a few licences that the French are trying to get off the British there under post-Brexit arrangements. Sparks also been flying between Paris and London over the issue of irregular crossings of the English Channel by asylum seekers. And broader in the EU context, tensions between the UK and Brussels over the global post-Brexit arrangements, especially on trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland, which of course is part of the UK, but there are different arrangements there now. Arrangements, we must say, that Boris Johnson co-authored with EU negotiators, but he and his government now say are unacceptable. The British Foreign Minister, Liz Truss, is now at the helm of Brexit-related talks for the UK side. She's meeting the EU Commission Vice President, Maroš Šefčovič, today. He's in charge of Brexit arrangements for the EU side. She's looking for major changes to these arrangements, and she's repeating a British threat to essentially rip up this original post-Brexit deal via a break clause, Article 16, that you might hear a lot about. Both sides say that they are being flexible, but we're really going to have to wait and see what comes out of this meeting.
Yeah, because she now has three caps on because she is the foreign minister, as you say. After the resignation of Boris Johnson's point man on Brexit negotiations, she's got that portfolio. That's two. And we know that Boris Johnson's in a spell of hot water these days at home. She could be a candidate in waiting for his job. So will that make it easier or harder to negotiate for Europe with Liz Truss?
Yeah, she is in a very interesting position, as you say. She is certainly somebody that we are definitely going to hear a lot more of, whether that's in this foreign minister job or as potentially a replacement for Boris Johnson. I have to say that, she is very, very popular with the Conservative Party, both the parliamentary party, but also the broader grassroots membership. For months now, she's been polling significantly further ahead, more popular than any of the other major figures, including the very popular Finance Minister, Rishi Sunak. As you say, Boris Johnson currently in this very hot water over all of these allegations that he oversaw all kinds of boozy parties while the rest of the UK was in lockdown. Liz Truss, she was on the Remain side of the Brexit campaign, but she's been a very loyal pro-Brexiteer ever since the referendum happened. And as you say, she's had this quite dramatic rise, and she's holding these 3 different hats at the moment. So, in light of calls for Boris Johnson to be replaced as Prime Minister, I'm sure it would definitely work in her favour with her party, with the grassroots membership, to keep talking tough with the European Union. And that is certainly what she's doing, going
So to
straight
toe a
in.
hard line.
Yeah, going straight in and continuing this threat to trigger Article 16, meaning basically rip up those post-Brexit arrangements. That's she's going in. She's not softening that stance, and she's trying to present that very pro-Brexit front. Showing her party, showing the voters that she is, as she sees it, really the defender of British interests in all of this.
Europe editor Catherine Nicholson, many thanks for that. Here in